So hello and good day, beautiful soul. This is day 8. Can you believe it? Day 8 of 9. I have to look at the calendar, make sure I'm on the right day for us because it feels like it's been a lot longer and yet it also feels like it's just gotten started. Let's see. I don't know that we need to really recap from yesterday. Empath energy during changing times. And if you have any comments or questions about that, let me know. Otherwise, I'm just going to start in because we're going to see what we can cover in our time together today. It's all about connecting to angels. They're already rushing through my mouth, so I'm going to start a little bit slower. Connecting to angels is easier than you believe, and it truly is. Y'all have been working for a long time, and especially during the last 9 days or 8 days, to clear out your energy and to get it to a higher vibration more often, more consistently, and easier, hopefully. So okay, so one of the ways, and they want me to start with this one, and it's listening. It is, okay, so a couple of days ago we did what we called the brain purge or the mentaling purge, the negative energy purge, the thoughts, and then put positive ones in there in your mind. So when you do that, you're clearing out space to either hear or see or receive intuitive nudges, those thoughts that float through your mind. Because as long as you're carrying negativity or a lot of it in your vibration, in your thoughts, the conscious mind, your feelings, your energy, and your emotions, it's going to be more difficult, more of a challenge for the angel energy to come through for you and to you. The truth is you're always getting it, and it's about easily recognizing and understanding so that you are able to trust it more, to receive it more consistently. And that's one of the things when we talked about the signs of manifestation one of the other days is when you see something like a dime on the ground or a penny or someone's giving you a cup of coffee or giving you an unexpected gift, you say thank you for these signs of manifestation as you are recognizing even the thoughts that float through your mind. And you're going, okay, or you write it down or you say thank you. You're actually opening up the way, the energetic channels to receive or to recognize even more signs, symbols, messages, and guidance. Tina dreams a lot, and I don't know, Gina, how do you, that's a good way to do it. Gina, I'm going to put you on live. I hope you're willing to speak because I would like to know how it is you connect or are trying to connect to angels so that we can tailor it more to the both of you. Tina and I have been working together for a while, so I'm pretty familiar with what she does. What do you do, Gina?
Can you hear me?
Yes, beautiful. We can hear you. Thank you.
Okay. So here's what I've been doing. I've been noticing the times on the clock.
Okay.
When I see double numbers like 1111, 1212, or sometimes it's triple numbers 4444, things like that. That I know is a sign for me from the angels. I've been noticing that quite a bit. And then also sometimes I will get thoughts, sudden thoughts that I would just like, oh, okay, that makes sense. So I know that didn't come from me. That came from some higher realm.
Right.
So that's that. What else? And then dreams, of course. Yes, I will have some dreams that are really, I guess it takes my attention right away. I mean, when I wake up, I would remember it and not have any ifs, ands, or buts about it. I knew it was from the angels or from above.
Okay.
So those are the things that I've noticed with me.
Okay, well, thank you so much for sharing. So one of the ways that you can really get into the dreams, is there something that you'd like to share real quick, Tina?
No, I'm good.
Okay, didn't want to decide for you. So one of the ways that you can increase these ways that you connect, one, you can get Doreen Virtue's Angel Numbers book. It's fabulous. I have it. I use it all the time. It will help you understand the messages with numbers. Now, generally speaking, 111 is about manifestation. So if you don't like your thoughts or your energy at the moment, then switch it. Get to a happier place so that you are attracting and manifesting things, more of what you want and less of what you don't, because the 111 is all about a particular energetic vortex or channel that has just opened up for you. Yeah, they're telling me like a pipeline. Okay. Twos are having trust and faith that the seeds you've planted, the visions that you're working with, dreams and goals, are manifesting more quickly than it appears and what it looks like. So keep on doing that work, those practices. Threes are all about ascended masters and the Trinity. So the ascended masters are very much with you, and it's just that you're more in alignment. Each one of these numbers is about being in alignment more than usual. And then the fours are lots and lots of angels are around you at that time. 5 is all about relationships and transformation. 6 is a very spiritual number. So you're more spiritually aligned. Your energy is clearer in that way. Thank you. Your crown chakra would then be open more to receiving intuitive nudges or the guidance, answers to your questions, or even validation. And then 7 is also very spiritual. 8 is all about prosperity and abundance. So if you're seeing 8s and you're having negative thoughts about finances, switch that up and start saying, you know what? I always have enough. There's always enough. Everything always works in my favor. Those kinds of things. Just keep it real general so that you up level and raise your vibration as instantly as possible. And then 9 is all about completion. Sense of completion, a cycle, whatever it is, it's a 9. That's why we're doing 9 days, because it's a completion. It's a set of something, and then you begin again with 1. So some of the ways that you can continue to connect with angels is to record your dreams, really get into the symbology, and be open-minded, because what they're giving you as a symbol or is not necessarily, I don't want to say this. We talked about yesterday, I believe it was, a snake isn't always a snake. It's not always slithering. It's magic that I learned yesterday from Tina. Thank you. It's also renewal, regeneration, transformation. It could also be somebody or something slithering around, kind of sneaking and poisonous. Oh, that's a thing. Poisonous. There could be some poisonous thoughts, yours or someone else's, or even your energy could be tainting what you're doing. So you want to be careful of just saying, yeah, okay, got it, because maybe you don't. And I'm not challenging you, it's just be open to looking beyond what you're getting. And this is what they really want me to share with you today, is listening. Because as you practice these different ways of connecting, you're actually increasing and opening the channels for other ways, your other natural gifts, to just really expand and develop even more. So if hearing isn't your best subject, as an example, or your highest or clearest gift, even by practicing that, you raise the vibration for the others. So okay, so if you sense through energy more than anything else, by listening, practicing hearing. And one of the things you can do to increase that hearing is to sit outside and close your eyes and just listen to the sounds around you. And then see how far out you can listen, meaning you're going to hear sounds right around you. But what about the next block over? Can you hear dogs? Can you hear cars? Maybe you can hear the highway, which could be, well, right now it's pretty close to me, but where I used to live, it was about a mile away. And I could hear it, not at the height of the day, because the sound all around the neighborhood and in the city was higher. But as the sound and everyone settles for the day and the night, then other sounds are more prominent, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? Okay, good. You want to practice that a couple times. You could do it once a week. That's how I learned to listen more clearly, or to hear more clearly. And another way to listen better is to, when someone is speaking, you're actually focusing on what they're saying and not what you're going to say next. Okay. Automatic writing or channeling in your journal. I often get messages that way for myself. When I'm journaling, I could just be writing about the day before, what it is I want to do today, even though I have a list in my calendar or on the sheet of paper in front of me in a particular folder that I'm working with, like this challenge, for example. I know what we're doing today, and yet I will write in my journal so that I get it out of my mind and get it down on paper so I don't have to remember all of it. And in some of those moments where I'm just talking to them through my writing, then other information will come. That opens you up to hearing, what I call hearing the thoughts as they come through to you when you're watching television or talking to someone else or reading a book, driving, at the gym, whatever it is. And sometimes the channeling comes through other people for you, and other times it is as you're speaking, you're talking about a particular subject with someone, then the ideas come and they flow more easily. One of the ways that I get to the right names or titles for programs or email subject lines is I'll start writing them down, because my conscious mind will start at one level, like, well, this is what it is. Okay, yeah, but it doesn't sound very exciting. It's like, yeah, okay, whatever. And then you start writing them down, and the ideas, it's kind of like a brainstorming. So you could brainstorm ideas on what it is you're going to be doing next for projects at work, projects in your business, perhaps some things you want to start designing, maybe jewelry or clothing, whatever it is. Let's see, what else? Everything that we've been sharing with you the previous 7 days is going to help you not only raise your vibration, but to get in touch with and connect with your inner intuitive self, your higher self, source, and of course your angels. In order to connect with the angels, yours, and ones that we all share, you have to raise your vibration. If you're already connecting and you want to connect more, or what I call higher levels and higher and deeper levels of communication, then you get to raise your vibration to the next level and beyond. Because the person you are right now, your current vibration will only get you so much. This is the reason that I continue to clear mine out and to do the healing, the releasing. Everything that we've talked about the last 7 days is what I do. Not every single day, because I don't need to do everything every day. And some days I don't do any of it because there's no need for it. But when something arises, I'll write a letter and burn it. I will do the meditation. I'll do the deep smudge. I'll do the salt bath. Incense my home. That I do nearly every single day in different locations. So like where I watch TV at night, wherever I'm teaching. So at the end of the day, I'll incense this again. I incensed this morning because I didn't do it last night. So when I close the computer for today, I'll incense my office area just to keep the energy clear. I don't like it to sit overnight. And if I've had a particularly stressful day, I might do it twice, with technology or whatever. And because I don't always incense my bedroom, but I do on occasion. So I just like to keep the whole area clear as much as possible, especially since I work and live in the same place. Can you see how all of these things that we've been talking about help you connect? Okay, Gina, you can put in the chat any questions that you have. If you're getting what you need today, because let's see what else they want me to share. There are so many different ways. I just want to be sure that I'm sharing with you the ways that they want to be shared today. So journaling, which is automatic writing, thank you. And one of the ways that you can tell the difference between what's being written that's coming from them, meaning the angels, or coming from yourself, is that the handwriting will change, sometimes slightly, sometimes a lot. And let's see, one of the ways that you can tell the difference is if it's like the word or the thought comes at the same time as you're writing it. So you're not writing it ahead of time. I mean, you're not hearing it or thinking it ahead of time and then writing it. That's usually how, I write an email or I write a note to someone. I'm thinking what I'm going to say, and then I type it out. Channeling, it's like it's one fluid thing. There's no break in between the thought and it coming out of your hands, whether you're typing it on the computer or handwriting it. I prefer to handwrite it, because then I can really tell it's different language, or I'm different handwriting, and I can barely read some of the angels' writing because it's awful. Metatron, I think, has one of the worst handwritings that he's been writing for like a million, how many years, because he started off way back, way back. The first incarnation into physical form that I'm aware of was Thoth in Egypt, and then became Enoch in the Bible. Yep. And now he's Metatron. So there are only two angels that were once human, Enoch and his twin brother Elijah, thank you. And they are Metatron and Sandalphon. I've heard they're twins, I've heard they're brothers. So either way it works, but they're brothers, okay? They did their job so well here on earth in human form that source, God, whomever, divine source, brought them into being an angel, but they're the only ones that are actually angels, and I'm glad you get it, Gina. Thank you. Any questions so far, ladies? Okay. Is there a particular way that you'd like to explore today? Go ahead.
Well, I don't think so. I mean, you and I cover so much stuff on a regular basis that
Yes.
I'm pretty complete.
Okay.
I think I probably the only one, I'm so anxious to just hear them more often. And so, I already know that whenever I hear them, or it's my understanding that I'm being divinely inspired, I always say thank you and encourage more of that, obviously. I think for me, it's not so much hearing them that I experience, it's just a knowing about things. So all of a sudden, I'm compelled to say something or share something that just feels like a push from the other side. You know, it's not like my ego wanting to be heard. It's just like, I got to get this out. You need to hear it, and you need to act on it right away. And I feel that more than anything else lately, especially with Rick and his work situation. Things come up to me, and it's just like it's almost like overbearing for him, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a little difficult because it's like, all right. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. You have to do it now.
I get that. And people don't often understand. No, I have to do this right now. I have to write this down right now. Even though I'm not going to get to it for 2 or 3 months, if I don't write it down now, one, I'm going to forget it. Or I could possibly forget it, which usually happens. And the other is they're going to keep on nudging you, and it's going to occupy space where you need to do something else. So, you know, when you surrender into that, and people, there was something, I was talking with someone on Saturday at an expo that I was participating in, and something just came out of my mouth, and I went, whoa, okay, well, I wasn't going to say anything like that, and I certainly wouldn't have said it in that tone, but it just came out, and it's like, okay. So the person who I was speaking with, it wasn't towards her in any way. It was about something we were both discussing and not quite comfortable with. And I said, well, I guess that had to come out. It was kind of snarky, but there it is, you know, it's like, okay. There was, I'll let you in. It's not a real big deal, but it was just like, whoa, because I would never say that out loud because it's derogatory, and that's not my usual way. But there was a person, a vendor, and she has really nice things, but the way it's displayed is less than inviting, is what kind of I would say myself when I'm looking for words to express and still be kind, because that's her path and that's her way. That's my opinion, not humble or otherwise. And what came out was, well, something, see, I know it was channeled now for sure, not that I doubted it because I can't even remember it, but it was fairly snarky. It was, well, that's where it belongs, is outside or something. It's like, oh my goodness. So sometimes, oh my. And here's something, yeah. There are times when words come out of your mouth and you go, okay, I really wish that didn't come out, but you don't have a lot of choice because
Well, that's what you say. The angel on my shoulder said that.
Well, yeah, Anna knows exactly where it came from. I'm just like, oh, that wasn't me. She says, I know, but it's true. And Gina says there were times that she missed the message or messages. She felt bad after the fact, after realizing she missed it. Then she's hard on herself because she missed the message. Okay, so when you are hard on yourself, when you beat yourself up, when you punish yourself, when you put yourself down, any of those words, any of those ways, you're actually creating another block, another hurdle, more energy to get through. You're actually lowering the energy. And it goes to self-worth and deserving to hear, see, sense, feel, or know the messages. So the next time you recognize you missed one or didn't pay attention, and I'm going to say, even though I talk to them and we talk to each other every single day, on occasion, I still miss one or two, or I don't take action right away. It's lots and lots less because it's just so part of my day now. It's just so part of who I am. It's not second nature. It is part of my nature and has been for a while. So when there's something that comes through, I acknowledge it, even something that they're sharing with me that I may not be appropriate to share in this setting. I'm still acknowledging it because it's come up. So I'm not always understanding why something comes up when it does. I just know the difference of when I'm to share it and when I'm not. So when you recognize you've missed something or you didn't take action on it, say, okay, I'll do better next time. And so you acknowledge, and then that's it. And if the conscious mind, ego, chitter, chatter keeps on pounding on you, say, you know what, I'm doing better. Because now you're recognizing that you missed it. And before, you wouldn't even have gone there. You wouldn't even have known that you missed it. So, no beating yourself up. You no longer have permission to beat yourself up, no matter what. Recognize it. Say, okay, I got it. I'll do better. I am doing better. It's getting easier for me to connect. It's getting easier for me to stay connected. It's easier for me to recognize the messages. It's easier for me to do something about the messages and the guidance I'm getting when I get it. And even if that is just to write something down. Because I was sharing with Tina earlier that I got a little, I call them love notes from the front office in my apartment building. Somehow the parking, the check for the parking, covered parking, didn't get deposited, so they think I didn't pay it. They lost it, that's fine. So I get this generic note, and I was going to try and rush down there at 9 o'clock and get it all done and come back, and I thought, and as I was really working with that, because things are going really well, and this is one of the things that I share with y'all, is that when things are going well, the conscious mind, ego, chitter chatter is going to trip you up, or it's going to do its darndest to do that. So it was like, oh my gosh, why are they sending me this? And it's like, wait a minute. It's a generic note. It's generic. It's not personal. And they have to word it that way because most people are not going to respond unless their car, they're threatening to throw their car away. Well, you know, when we're done here, then I'll go down there and take care of it. So that was one of the things that I was working with, and it doesn't sound like a lot. It's like, okay, so how do I manage this in the day that I have planned? Because it could certainly have interrupted my natural flow, the level of my own energy. And as I worked with it, it's like, okay, so the angels are helping me. I said, you know what, you're right. I can do this after. And I have the whole day. And not to take the whole day to do it. And then my 7 o'clock client needs to reschedule to next week. Wow, thank you. I just got another hour and a half because I would have quit the other things. I would have stopped the other things an hour earlier to wrap up and then to get ready. So now I have the rest of the entire day. I have another whatever hours, 7 or 8 hours that I can work on the project that's in front of me. So if you, even in those moments of frustration or when the conscious mind is really trying to screw things up for you, just make things general. It's like, you know, I got this. Things always work out in my favor. It's not a problem. They just didn't deposit the check. I don't need to go in there with both barrels blazing. It's not a big deal. And you talk to yourself this way so that you get rid of the negativity as much as possible, and then the ideas and the guidance start floating in. It's like, yeah, that's a great way to do that. I'd much rather do that and get some things done that I had planned before this class and get set up and be here and then go take care of that. Does that make sense? Okay, excellent. Gina, does that help you? As far as not beating yourself up anymore? I was just rereading the text in the chat box to make sure that I at least covered that. So yes, good, thank you. So we covered listening. And I did a class on this years ago. It's called Listen to Be Heard. And it's some people call it active listening. And when I stumble over my words and I get tongue-tied, it's when they're all trying to rush through and tell you all stuff all at the same time over me. So you active listening, you're listening to others, hearing them. That doesn't guarantee that that person is going to actually hear you back, but the more you practice that, the more you actually hear, both said and unsaid. And there's a lot behind the energy, there's a lot behind the words, whether it's text, email, voice to voice, or face to face. Energy is really ramping up around us in so many different ways, and it can lower your vibration. It can, and does, interfere in a lot of ways. And moving energy, meditation, incense, salt baths, writing the letters, listening. Yeah, that's one way too. And then all of these ways are designed or shared with you so that you have the tools to actually clean up your energy, to keep it clean, and to just kind of, yeah, that's a good word, reboot or reprogram, because what you have been doing, some of it works, some of it not so much. So it's about reprogramming the not so much so that what works better, and then you can incorporate and start other ways. You know, I talk about hearing the angels and talking to them. A lot of it is through conscious thought or intuitive thought. And it's like I hear it in my ears, but it's my inner ear. It's not with this particular ear, but because these are clear or fairly clear, pretty clear, then I can hear the thoughts as they float in. And sometimes it's an intuitive thought that floats in, and other times it is like a voice in my head. So if you're not sure if it's, that's a good one, thank you. If you're not sure it's your voice or the voice of an angel, you can ask them to speak more distinctly. And you can ask them to speak louder, so turn up the volume. Now, if they get too loud, you go, okay, just a little bit lower, please. Y'all don't need to shout. And the other part, let's see, one of the things that they've been wanting me to share with you, yes. So when you ask a question, when you ask for guidance, whatever it is you're asking for, and at the end is, you know, angels, please help me with, or what is, you know, I'd like some guidance about XYZ. And at the end of that, you want to say something like, in a way that I easily understand and recognize, because if they're speaking Latin, Greek, or Tunisian, and you don't understand any one of those languages, you're just not going to get it. It's just not going to work. So you could ask for an interpreter angel for one, or you can just say, you know, I'm asking for guidance, blah, 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 in a way that I easily understand and recognize. And then as you start to hear it or feel it, sense it, see it, or know it, just say thank you. Just acknowledge it, because acknowledging it brings attention to that energy vibration. You can also feel it in your solar plexus or your heart chakra, that sense of knowing, the claircognizance, okay? And I'm being told there's no meditation today necessarily, because it's all about connecting, and there's no one specific angel that'll help you with that. They all will. So you can just ask them. You can call them in by name, or you can just say, angels, help me with this. That's what I used to, well, it's not what I used to do. I still do it, especially when I was working a day job so many years ago as an executive administrative assistant for Border Patrol here in El Paso. My boss, Pete, would want or need some reports, and you know, I'm okay on the computer, but how to do reports that then had numbers and things in them, or added them up, was not my area of expertise. And this was before I was full blown into the angel energy. I knew that we were connected, and I just said, okay, how am I going to do this? help me do this. And I would just start plugging in the pieces that I knew. And then pretty soon it would be done. And it would always be done within the time frame or a little bit sooner. Would it be the easiest or quickest way? Probably not. But the techie angels or whoever angel showed up helped me get it done in a way, in a format that my boss needed. And that's all that mattered, is how it got done. He gave me 2 hours. Sometimes it took an hour, sometimes an hour and 45 minutes, sometimes an hour and a half. But it got done. And once you ask, then relax into it and just release the anxiety of not being able to tap into that energy. Say, okay, you've asked for it. Now just start doing the parts and the pieces that you can do, the ones that you know how to do, or get started. When you're starting a new program or a new project or trying to figure out the dream, I'll say, okay, so what parts do you remember? All right, what does that mean? What could that mean? And you go from there. Say, angels, please help me with this. Okay, so I'm going to type this angel's name in the chat box. Spell it right. Okay, this is an angel of vision. We talked about Angel Haziel, or she came in the other day, angel of vision. But Samandidiel is also seeing beyond the moment. So it's Samandidiel. You can say it however you like. And this is an angel of vision, dreams. She will help you to see more, to understand more, to interpret your dreams more easily so that you get what it is that they're trying to tell you. And you can also ask for clarification. So if you're not sure, say, I'm thinking this is a message from you, but I'd really like some validation or confirmation. I really want to know this is from you. The angels don't care how many times you ask. It's more about connecting with you. And so figure out some of the ways within this framework that work for you best, because not everyone does everything the same way. They'll come to ceremony for using sage to clear out their home or their office. And there are some basic ways to do that, but within that, you've got your energy, your preferences, your guidance, and it all works. The mistake a lot of people make, if not most people in the beginning, is that they feel they have to do it just like so-and-so. And that's not true. There are some basic ways, just like basic math. There's ways within that you can then go and do the math problems. There are painting. Hey, Lori, glad you could join us. There's, when I was first taking Chinese brush painting lessons a million years ago in Hawaii, I used to get frustrated because there were so many rules, and I don't do well with rules. The general ones, I just go, okay, fine, whatever. Because there's only so many things you can kind of do on your own and stay and stay on the right side of the wall, right? Good, glad to see you too, gorgeous. Glad you're here. And anyway, so once you understand the foundation, the rules for how long this should be and how much ink to use and the pressure and the brush strokes, then you're free to create. And once I understood that, it was much easier for me to learn the foundation pieces. I just wanted to do it. Well, if you don't know what you're doing, then you go back to basics like listening and working with your inner sight, writing things down, clearing your energy in any one, if not all 7 of the ways that we've been talking about, and the different ways that we've been sharing here today, how to listen more effectively, how to see, how to know the difference between your handwriting and an angel's handwriting when you're journaling and channeling in that way. And most often when I try to go back to read something from the angel side, can barely decipher their handwriting, but it's okay because the energy's there and I got it. And I'm able to retain something or enough of something, and I've got it in here somewhere. So I just don't worry about it. That is good too. They just reminded me there's one other thing we're going to share with you, and then we'll open it to questions if there are any. Sometimes you get I call them downloads, and it's like a sharp, not painful, sometimes it is, but like a sharp sound in your ear. This is not tinnitus or hearing issues. It is a continuous sound for a couple of seconds. I've had downloads as long as a minute. Now, what specific information they're downloading, I have not cracked that particular energetic code yet. Most people get it in one ear or the other. Depends on where they put it. Sometimes it's either ear for me, not both at the same time, thankfully. And it's like a sharp tone. It's a high vibration, and it's just like, and I just say thank you, because it's something I need. I don't know if it's a healing. I honestly don't know what it is, and I may not be able to crack it as long as I'm in human form, and that's okay. That's one of the other things, is just let go of the need to understand every single little bitty thing, the why. If you're to know, if it's to help you, they'll let you know. If it's going to cause more harm and more healing for you, then there's no need for you to know what the reasoning or the energy behind something is, what's behind what someone says or does or doesn't do or doesn't say. So we'll open it up for questions. I'm going to unmute you all just in case, so just don't talk over everybody. Whoop. Okay, so everybody's unmuted. Any questions or comments? Anybody?
So I have a question.
Yes, Gina.
So this just happened to me recently. So I came into the house and I closed the door, and all I remember was closing the door. I don't remember locking it. But when somebody tried to follow me, it was already locked. That person couldn't come in. Does that mean my angels locked the door?
Yep. Yep. That's somebody, an angel, your guardian angel. Yes, they were looking out for you, because there's no telling what could have or what may have happened, and don't go looking for the answer to that. But it's, yes, they did that. One time when I had just gotten the house, I don't no longer have that house, but when I had first purchased it, and I hadn't been in there a couple of weeks yet, and it was still cool really early in the morning. And I walked out from the bedroom into the living room, and there was the door wide open. I mean, wide open to the street. No screen door. I mean, it was just there. And I started to freak, and I went, oh, no, because I saw this huge white light of an angel in the doorway, and I just said, thank you. I don't know how long the door was open. I don't know how it got open, because I always go through the garage, but who knows? It hadn't gotten closed or locked for some reason, and yet everything was in the house. I was perfectly safe, and I knew there was an angel standing right in the doorway, and with his arms crossed, kind of like, what do they call that? Anyway, a just huge angel. And I just said thank you and went on about my day, and it didn't freak me out, but for like less than 30 seconds. Tina, you had something you were going to share?
I was saying a century.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I wanted to share, something that just really just blows my mind to this day. When Libby, our English Mastiff, was probably about 8 or 10 months old, I had done some research about bones and had given her a raw bone. Did they say if you're going to give a dog a bone, it should be raw and it should be big enough for them to chew on and not swallow? And I thought I gave her a good sized bone, and she was just working on that bone day and night on her bed. Well, not day and night. It was many hours. She never left her bed, never. And The bed was next to the sofa. All of a sudden, the bone is missing, completely missing. And I just tore the house apart. She had never left the bed. It wasn't under the sofa. It wasn't in the sofa, like she might have tossed it in the air. That we took the whole living room apart. We walked everywhere. She had not been outside. She couldn't have picked it up and taken it anywhere because she never left my sight. But the bone left my sight. So the only thing we could figure was she swallowed the bone, which is not a good thing because it blocks their intestines and can cause problems. So I called the vet in emergency, and they said, well, I want to tell you that unless if you feel it's an emergency, I believe she'll be safe to wait till the first thing in the morning. I don't want you to have to pay for an emergency visit. Now, mind you, the vet's an hour and a half away. So the next morning, I got up bright and early. I drove in. I was staying in the parking lot when they opened the door. They took her right in, did an x-ray. No bone in her body anywhere. Nowhere. That bone was not there. And she's like, well, maybe it dissolved. I said it was a cow bone. She couldn't have dissolved it. And certainly not overnight. So I'm telling you, in my heart, I know an angel came and took that bone away from her.
It had gotten to a dangerous point, and so that was it. Yep.
Yeah. There is no other explanation, whether it was an angel or an elemental. It could have, could have been a fairy or, an elf or dwarf. It didn't have to necessarily be an angel, but somebody was looking out for Libby and made sure that that bone was gone, because she was looking for it too. I mean, she was sniffing the bed and trying to figure out where it was. It was gone. Not in the house anywhere.
Thank you for
shown up, and she's 3 years old.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah, the angels work in mysterious ways, like you said, whether it's a fairy or an elemental or whatever. Lorianne, you're live? Beautiful. Is there anything you'd like to share?
No, I'm just listening right now. I'm really enjoying it.
Well, good. Thank you so much. I'm glad you were able to get here for even just a little bit. So that pretty much wraps it up for today. Yeah, thank you. Action steps. Okay, so pardon me for just a moment while I write this down in channeling form, which is what I do best. Okay. Okay. I would show you their handwriting, but you couldn't read it, even if I showed it to you. That's okay. I'm pretty good at this. So here are your 2 action steps. You can choose to do either one or both of them. And again, it's not about adding hours to your day. It's just incorporate them as you go along. Either one of these, so listen to hear. So you want to usually go outside, or if the windows in your home are open, depending upon the temperatures that there are. Hey, there she is, gorgeous. Hello. You want to close your eyes where you won't be disturbed for maybe 15, 20 minutes, and you're going to listen. This is different than, it's a sort of meditation, but it's more about clearing your physical ears so that you can hear and to see how far away you can hear. Meaning, when I first started doing this, and I learned this technique from a teacher, one of my teachers many years ago. So you close your eyes and you just sit there relaxed and you listen. This isn't about silencing your mind. You just absolutely listen. And you'll be able to identify the sounds around you. And then you extend your hearing outward. So what can you hear? What next can you hear? So if you're at home, usually don't try to do this at work unless you're the boss, and you might get a little bit in trouble. So And the reason I say outside is because it's getting to be summertime and it's hot and the windows are closed and the air conditioner's on, so you're not going to hear much. So outside, and you're hearing dogs barking, maybe cars going by, and then maybe a hummingbird comes, within 10 or 15 feet, and you can hear their wings beating. And it's so amazing. When you listen, when you really, really listen, you're tuning into higher and subtle frequencies. What do you think the angels are working with? They're not working with the red. They're working with the lavenders or the ultraviolet light type of vibrations. Now, I'm not saying they don't work with red. They do. But generally speaking, those intuitive thoughts that float in, those the nudges and the things that they will say to you or the direction you want to go into, especially in the beginning, is subtle. And even subtle for me at times, because you're so focused on going this way that you're not seeing, well, it's really better to go that way in this instance. So listening, how far can you hear? And you may or may not be able to hear that far the first or second time, but I promise you, if you do this, you don't have to do it every day, but just do it maybe once a week for the next 3 or 4 weeks. It will make a huge difference. It will make a huge difference. That's how I was able to develop my sense of hearing them so quickly. And the other one is seeing with your inner sight, with your third eye. Your third eye doesn't have to be opened, as people talk about their third eye being open. You don't have to have your third eye open in order to do this. This is about seeing with your eyes closed. So you focus on something, like maybe a window that has some light around it, or an object on your desk or in your living room, and then you just focus on it for 30 seconds to a minute, and then you close your eyes. What can you see? Without forcing it, can you see energy? I don't see color, but I see the energy imprint of something. And the more you do this, the more you'll be able to see with your eyes closed, which is why you often see me talking to y'all with my eyes closed, so I can see better. So that the physical stimuli isn't taking up the RAM in my eyes, if you will. We've pushed some buttons there. Anyway, so you want to do that, and you could do that for maybe 5 minutes. So look at something for 30 seconds, close your eyes. What do you see? The images, the energy, the colors, the shapes. Then open your eyes again. Focus, not stare, but just focus on something for maybe a minute, then close your eyes. And how long, without forcing it, can you maintain the image? Can you continue to see it? It will work wonders, that you'll be able to see differently. Alrighty then, we're good to go. And tomorrow is day 9. Wow. We're going to be bringing in crystal energy to help you raise your vibration and to connect with angels and vice versa. So that'll be kind of cool. At least I think so. And then day 10, I know this is a 9-day challenge, and I really didn't, we had 9 days of topics and then a special webinar. So that's why it's going to be on Friday the 9th, which is still a 9. So the 9th day and 9 days is still a 9, because whatever, I'm getting too much math in my head. But so tomorrow is using crystals to raise your vibration, which also helps you connect with various angels in different ways or different vibrations. And then on Friday the 9th, we'll have a special webinar, 9 levels of prosperity and 9 prosperity angels. That's going to be amazing. And I'm thinking about doing it a little bit earlier because I don't want to cut it short. I'll ponder that to make sure I'm getting the right thing. Because anyway, all right, ladies, before I keep on yammering, can you tell this is my favorite part of all of it? No. We'll post in the group and see how y'all are doing. Now, this one may take a little longer for you to get some results and maybe not. So we'll post in the group and it'll just be continuing. And even though we're coming to an official end here by Friday, we're still going to continue to see how we can raise our vibration here and there within that group. So it's not like, okay, bye-bye, done, go away. That's not how we roll. Not any of us on this side. So, bye-bye. Thank you so much for being